We have an awesome show for you guys today.
The greatest eventer of all time.
Good news for the sport.
Welcome to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are going to have a great show for you guys today. We're going to take a break, check in with Horse Trailer Pros, and we're going to be right back with Stuart Bunting.
Exciting.
Want to advertise on the John and Rick Show? Contact John at 352-875-8622
Or call Rick at 850-879-2649.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We've got a big show for you guys. It is truly international today. We're going to have Stuart Bunting from Australia. He is actually back home in the motherland and has agreed to take some time to come in and talk about not only his career and life, but also we are going to learn all about his role on the FEI Risk Management Steering Group because he's the chairman.
It's like having the man from Snowy River.
Yeah, that's right. That was Australia. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know that. Are you impressed? I did watch that horse movie.
You did both of them?
Oh, there were two?
Yeah.
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 No, I watched the first one. I watched him slide down the hill and I was like, cool. That was pretty neat. And then I learned years later that they edited that whole thing and it really wasn't going down that steep a hill. They tilted the camera sideways like that.
Yeah, they would have to. But it was pretty impressive anyway.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
So how have you been? You keeping busy? Winter's upon us.
Yeah, winter is upon everyone. And I know everybody from up north is going to be like, oh, give me a break. But you know what? It's cold. And I feel for everybody in the north. It looks miserable up there.
No, it's bad. It's snowgeddon, as they call it. Usually when it gets bad like this every 4 or 5 years, right?
Yep.
We are lucky to be here, but it is going to be cold.
Yeah.
I mean, I pulled out my ski clothes.
Yeah, man. I've got every single layer on my horses and they're all tucked in and hopefully they stay warm and cozy through the evenings. I think we've got like almost 2 weeks of this coming.
I know. And unfortunately, it's going to be a bit cold while Lucinda's here next week. Lucinda Green's coming.
Yep.
Her annual visit. So I told her to dress warm.
Yeah. I feel like usually she's out there in shorts, but I don't think that's going to happen this time.
Yeah. It's always hard to say with Lucinda.
Yeah.
You never know. She has her chaps on usually.
Well, yeah, and usually shorts underneath them.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well,
so how about you guys? Everything good over there?
Yeah, we had the new baby, BFC Quill.
Right. This is a horse baby, by the way.
Horse
everyone.
baby.
Some of us call them foals.
Not a human baby.
Right.
Yeah. Bella Q gave birth a couple of weeks ago. A couple weeks early. It actually was due today.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So you said you went out in the morning and it was outside the paddock.
Yeah. Very shocking. I had a dream a couple of weeks before that the mare shot the baby out, went down the hill and through the bushes and out the fence. And evidently my dream came true.
That makes sense. This goes to your whole thing of put it in the universe and then
yeah. No, he's adorable. We were lucky. She pulled outside with my 4-star horse, Cody.
Yeah.
And the baby got separated somehow after it had gotten up and milked, I think, a little bit because it was super strong, very dry, was very calm. And Braden found it at the end of the pasture and I didn't know it was out. And he called me and said, the baby's here. And I saw him out there moving. The baby, I was like, leave the baby alone. He goes, it's on the other side of the fence. I was like, what? So we got them all the way down together, and the mare was pretty calm.
Oh,
And
wow.
put him in the stall. And it took him a bit. He was a bit tired, but he figured out we had the vet out a little bit later, and everything's fine. He's good. He's beautiful.
That's awesome.
Babies are cool as long as they're alive and milking and nursing and proper.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're lucky it all went well, and that's
Right.
a wild story. Okay. This is related to the podcast, but unrelated.
All right.
Where is this?
Right
You
here.
have it. Oh, this is so exciting.
I had it last time.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay. So for those who are not watching on YouTube, Rick has a new microphone, and that's hard for me to tell when we're recording if you've got it or not, but I didn't see it. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well done.
I'm going to make it like this.
We don't have to see it. I just was curious.
I want to see it.
Okay. There you go. Or you can put them, a lot of times they do it like this in the big.
Well, I don't have that much. I don't have the ability because I move it down.
But then it blocks the money maker. You don't really want it like that.
No, you look good. No, thanks for getting it for me. It's great. And so what's going on in the universe for you?
Well,
go ahead.
I just was going to say, I just finished run number 4.
Congratulations.
Yesterday. And
you better stop raising so much money. You're going to be.
Well, I'm done. The money's done. It's raised, but I still owe a couple runs, or now I have one more to go. And I went with Tick over to Silver Springs.
Don't ever go with Tick.
Oh my God. Oh, it was terrible.
He's like a monster.
It was the worst run I've ever done. It was so funny. I don't know that I've laughed as hard as I laughed while I was running.
I saw the post.
I was so crippled by the end. It was terrible.
I heard you ran through thick, like deep sand.
Deep sand over like logs and brush, and had to climb a fence at one point. I'm like, what kind of a run is this? This is like it's a Spartan race. It was insane.
Like the mud man.
Yeah. It's a tough mudder with no mud, just sand, a tough sander.
Well, congratulations. What was the total?
So we raised $500,000. So the Manton Foundation donated 250 grand, and then USEA members raised another 250 grand. So that was a big deal.
That is amazing.
And I still have one more. I have one more run to go, and I expect you and Briggs to be on it.
We can do the last run with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Briggs runs every day out in the cow pasture.
Yeah, but I thought he didn't. I thought he was scared of cows.
Well, the cows aren't there.
Okay.
Why don't you come over here and run that track?
I'm not running on dirt ever again. I'm only going to run on.
It's a galloping track. We keep it aerated and mowed.
I'm just telling you, after the experience I had the other day.
Where are you going to run?
Santos Park. It has a nice running path. It's blacktop. It's easy running.
You can't run on hard surfaces. You get shin splints.
Yeah, blacktop is not hard. Blacktop is a little soft. It's got a little give to it. It's not like concrete. Yeah, it's firm, but still soft and squishy on the inside.
It would make it real easy if you ran here.
Well, for you.
I know. I just wake up, walk out, get on the gallop track and go. And there's bald eagles, and there's egrets, and there's
I want blacktop. I want level ground.
What we'll do is we should just do it on 2 locations, but we'll do it together.
Oh, we could do it virtually.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
So we just got done with Rocking Horse down here. We've got Ocala coming up. Then we've got another Rocking Horse. I think the eventing showcase happens pretty soon up in Aiken. I know Joni Morris is getting that all organized and ready to rock.
Don't forget about Chris Barnard and the $10,000 Ocala eventing.
Yeah, is that why you asked me? Is that why you asked me for the logo today?
Yes. Yep.
So is that official?
That's official.
So we, the John and Rick Show, are going to be a sponsor of, what is it called? What is he officially called?
Ocala Eventing Invitational, $10,000 on February 16th at the Florida Horse Park, put on by Chris Barnard.
It's going to be epic. And now, do they do a dressage test for that as well?
They're going to do the they're going to do the Olympic 4-star test, short test.
Right.
And the Olympic 4-star test. And then a 1.25 meter show jump.
That's going to be so cool. And I talked to Chris, and I would love to ride in it, but I'm actually running the weekend before at Rocking Horse, so I can't do it. which is a bummer. But I will be there.
That is a bummer. That's
Yeah.
you. I mean, but John and Rick show will be there.
Right. And so that's the cool thing. John Rickshaw is sponsoring it. I'm going to come and cheer everybody on. And,
Equibrew sponsoring it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
It's gonna be fun. I think it's pretty cool that he does that for us. There's gonna be 30 invited riders, and those that can't come, like you, are gonna come and support those that can.
Will there be a bar?
Sure.
Sure or yes?
Oh, are you kidding? There's gonna be drinks there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably.
And that Briggs is gonna do the pony couture, and so
Sweet.
it'll be fun watching that. And
Yep. I'll be.
you can come and do interviews.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
A little show from
Everybody out there,
ringside.
show up at the Florida Horse Park on February 16th.
Gonna be great.
Chris Barnard's Ocala eventing.
It's not February 16th. It's February 18th, right? Isn't it Wednesday?
Look at it. Yeah, you might be right. February
I'm not
18th.
here. I'm going to be gone.
Where are you going?
I got to go look for horses.
Are you going to Europe?
Yeah. I'll be
This
gone.
8. Where are you going?
Yeah. We're going to go over and hang out with Mike Winter and look for some horses.
Who's looking?
A friend.
And what are you looking for?
We're looking for a nice sort of 3-star horse, 2-star, 3-star.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's pricey.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
for
we're
you.
very excited. So we're going to go do that. And I'll be having to cheer. You guys will have to send me all the videos. I won't be there. That's a bummer.
That's okay. We'll be cheering for you to find a horse.
Yeah. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Should be good. Let's see what else. So after you do the showcase, then where do you go?
We are heading to, I think we do the Ocala. Let's see. Yeah. We do one Ocala before the mare runs at Terra Nova, then Terra Nova to Kentucky.
Got it.
Kentucky to Tryon. We're trying to keep her runs minimal, and then we have the Booming Boudron horse coming back. We're just taking it slow. He's doing great. And then we have all the young horses. So there's so many to pick and choose from. We just kind of go around, but we have some really nice young thoroughbreds that are doing well.
It's exciting.
And you? What's the big end game?
Probably Bromont with mine.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're starting a little slower and later, like you. It's great. I think it's interesting, isn't it? Like we have all of these horse shows to pick from now or to choose from, and you can get running very early in the year. And I think you do have to go like old school, pick where you want to finish, and then work your way back and figure out when you need to start.
Interesting that you say that.
Okay.
So newly out from the USEF is the U.S. Eventing Strategic Calendar Proposal,
Okay.
the executive summary.
Ooh.
So what's going on with that is they're trying to oversee the calendar a little bit more. You know how crazy the calendar gets, right?
Yeah.
I think one of the big things that I took away from this was they're moving the calendar change into a 4-year cycle instead of a 5-year cycle
Right.
to match the Olympics or games. So it's
Okay.
going to be in a cycle for the Olympics. So this cycle that we're in right now is going to go longer than 4 years because they want to start it so that it cycles under the 4. That's one thing. The other thing is they're taking the 3 long off of the street. Their what they call their site, their oversight, so that the 3 long can be offered in more places and not be cumbersome to get, because there's only 3 longs that they have in the United States that they can really call out. You can call them out, right? You got
Terra Nova.
Maryland,
Terra Nova, Maryland, Galway.
over on the West Coast. Yep. And what else?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
That's basically it.
Terra
Well,
Nova,
there's one more,
Galway,
Tryon.
Tryon.
So they were opening it.
I think there's
like,
more.
there's not.
Back
I
of Farm
just-
has one. Galway has one.
Yeah, I think they're talking about East Coast.
Okay. Well, that's
Just
sick.
where you can access the 3 long. But you're gonna have to read it. It's right here. Look.
Well, that's super hard to read from here. Now it's even worse. Well, yeah, we'll have to look into that. So everybody needs to check out the strategic. What is it called now? While you're bringing this up.
Okay, I can tell you. It's right here. U.S. Eventing Strategic Calendar Proposal Executive Summary. Proposed level oversight for next strategic calendar. Remove the 3 long oversight and maintain oversight over advanced, 4 short, and 4 long. And then they go into the reasons why. But we can kind of dive into it deeper on the next show because this is going to be in conversation.
Yeah.
But they are stating that there's not enough 3 longs. They
probably on the surface that probably makes sense, right? Because you are at that level just trying to get your horses. If you're going up the levels, you're just trying to get those qualifiers done.
Right. They're talking about the East Coast, not to leave out the West Coast, but you got Rebecca Farm, you got Galway. But what they're saying is they have Tryon, Maryland, Ocala. Ocala has a 3 long.
Yeah. How did we forget Ocala? I think there's lots of 3 longs actually.
There's not lots. I just read through it. They were right on what they were saying. They're spread out through the calendar, which like Maryland's way out, in October, right?
Right.
They have the Tryon one that coincides with Tryon. So if you're at badminton, you wanted a 3 long done, and the riders that are over at badminton from the United States can't, there's horses in the loop that
forgetting a West Coast. We're forgetting about Twin Rivers too. Sorry.
Yep. So they have Twin Rivers, Rebecca Farm, and Galway, right?
Yep.
Anyway, we'll dive into it a little bit more so that we and you can have conversation that makes sense.
There's 6. There's 3 East Coast, 3 West Coast, right? Because you've got Twin. I know we're talking in circles. You got Twin, Rebecca, and Galway. And then here you've got Terra Nova, Maryland, Tryon, Ocala. So I guess that's 7 actually. You got 4 here, 3 there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess the dates, they're talking about dates. Maybe there should be one in March, and just all kind of conversations. I know March sounds early, but I at least they're thinking about it.
And changing it, right? Because people weren't happy. So
yeah. And I think we went away from, how many years ago did we do that to the calendar where we kind of went away saying we're not going to use Kentucky as the absolute, build the calendar around Kentucky. Remember that? That was probably about 10 years ago.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of did though, because they set the weekends like every 3 weeks leading up to Kentucky is how they set the calendar originally.
Yeah, but years ago, I mean, it was
like way back when, right?
Yeah.
Anyways.
So there we go. Just something to bite off. Also, we do have a couple of 3 $25 gift certificates to
I Love My Horse.
Right. And we can give those away. Should we do some kind of promotion for that one? What's your idea?
Oh, okay. You're dropping this on me.
I know. It's fun. I feel like Taylor Swift and what's his name?
And what's his name? All right. So here's what we're going to do.
Kelsey.
We're going to announce right now that in the 3rd segment, we are going to tell you how you can win one of those $25 gift certificates, which means
let's do that.
You have to listen all the way through the show to figure that out. It'll be a secret. It's a secret code or something. We'll let you know in the 3rd segment. Don't let us forget. Because that's also possible, because sometimes we get sidetracked and ramble, as you can tell right now. So let's do this, Rick. Let's take a break. Oh, look at this. Woof.
She's been seeing dead people in our cabin, so we've been a little bit concerned.
Okay. I hope she's not right. Okay, look, let's take a break. We're going to be back with Stuart here in a moment. We will talk all things FEI Risk Management Steering Group. And let's not forget, this is the guy who made an entire course last year in England, Frangible. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cutting edge, actually.
That's amazing. I think that is like #1 in the books, right?
Yeah. First time it was done, I believe. We'll find out. Let's take a break. We'll be back for our Equibrew segment. Thank you to Horse Trailer Pros. As always, you guys are amazing. They've been with this podcast now coming into our 7th season. Make sure all of you guys listening, please go to the podcast players, give us a 5-star review, and go to YouTube and comment and like us and all of that stuff. And make sure you share us on all of your social media platforms with all your friends. We appreciate it. We'll be right back with Equibrew.
I just got back from Magnolia Sands schooling the horses cross country. It is such a useful place to go. If you are here for the winter season and you want to go cross country schooling, Magnolia Sands needs to be on your list. It is awesome, great jumps. You do have to make reservations, so you're going to text 615-414-0781 or send them an email at magnoliasandsfarm@gmail.com. You're going to have a great time.
Equibrew, now available in the USA. It's a live probiotic that you feed daily to your horses. The live microbes go into your horse's gut and cleans up the gut wall, creating a healthy gut system.
Equibrew is an essential part of my feeding program. My horses love to eat it, and it does a really good job of promoting gut health and also good behavior and great performances.
It's something I recommend for all of your horses, no matter what they do in their careers.
It's so affordable, I can use it on all of my horses in the barn, not just my top horses.
Order Equibrew today by going to brickfieldnutrition.com or calling 850-879-2649.
Grant Showalter has over 15 years of equine bodywork and saddle fitting experience. His technique allows him to identify and alleviate tightness in muscles. He uses trigger point massage to release points of restriction. Grant has over a decade of experience fitting and adjusting a wide variety of saddles. His expertise in equine physiology, coupled with a thorough understanding of the importance of a properly fitted saddle, allows him to quickly identify and correct any balance issues. Grant can also adjust your saddle on site. Grant works on all of my competition horses, and I have noticed a significant improvement in their performance at competitions and their overall way of going. Grant's based in Ocala, Florida year-round, but regularly travels to the surrounding areas. For more information or to schedule an appointment, call 484-639-4454.
Here we go. Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are with Stuart Bunting in Australia. Stuart, where are you right now?
I'm actually sitting on the edge of the beach in Warrnambool in southern Victoria. So I'm actually enjoying a bit of a better day. Yesterday it was about 46, 47 degrees here, but it's a bit cooler today, which is good.
Oh, great. Well, thanks for coming to us. This is the Equibrew segment. Equibrew is a great live probiotic. Stuart, Equibrew is made in New Zealand. So yeah, just across the pond, I get, what do you call that in between Australia and New Zealand? Just a hop
Across
and
the ditch.
skip?
Wait, what?
I said, we call it across the ditch.
Across
Okay.
the ditch. I like that. Well, we bring it in from New Zealand, Stuart. It's a great live probiotic for horses, and it works really well. So everybody out there, brickfieldnutrition.com. We're going to join Stuart. Hey, John, why don't you tell us a little bit about Stuart and what he's doing for us and with the sport?
Oh, well, I mean, we can probably even leave that to Stuart a little bit, but I will say I've known Stuart for a little while now because he is the chairman of the FEI Risk Management Steering Group. And Stuart is, you're an FEI course designer, correct? You organize a bunch of events, and what else you got on your resume there?
Well, I'm a TD as well. General dog's body in the sport, I suppose, like all of us.
Right. And it was actually really, excuse me, it was actually really cool. I was at Bromont, I think it was this year, and I'm out walking my cross country course, and there's this giant group of officials, and it's being led by this guy. And I look and I'm like, I know this guy. And it was Stuart. He was out there leading the walk and leading the conversations on the official, it was like a seminar, right? They always do that FEI seminar
Yep.
there.
Yep.
Yeah. Very cool.
First trip to Bromont. No.
Yeah. Bromont's pretty beautiful, isn't it?
Great spot.
Yeah. So Stuart, let's just take us back to the beginning. So you are from Australia. Where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
I was born out here in Western Victoria. Grew up on a farm as a farming lad, rode horses. You know, the old man always said to us, you know, why buy motorbikes when I've got 4 or 5 kids to ride ponies and chase sheep and do all those things. So that was my background. And then I finished school and headed off and thought I'd do 5 years sort of traveling and doing a bit around the world and then come back and farm. But I ended up in the UK, did Europe for 3 or 4 years working in the show jumping world, and then ended up in the UK, got married, and then we came back and lived in Australia end of the 80s for 4 or 5 years, and rode here and had quite a lot of fun and organised events and did a few bits and pieces like that. And then we took horses back to the UK beginning of the 90s. My wife's English, so we ended up staying there, and I've been based in the UK pretty much ever since. But this is really home for me. So we rode a bit. I was a bit of a journeyman jockey, entertained the crowd, fell off more often than I stayed on, I think. But had a good time, and then ended up sort of organising events and commentating and controlling and doing various things like that. So so I've been around the sport now for a long time in various guises in various countries.
Yeah, and I think you undersell it a little bit because I know you maybe don't have an Olympic gold medal, but you did jump around badminton, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, look, I was really lucky. We grew up. I had a little horse at home. We bred as a stock horse in Australia, and he took me around 2 or 3 badmintons, a couple of burleys. So that was pretty fun.
That's pretty epic.
Very much made up the numbers for quite a while, but yeah, it was.
It's amazing. Like, that's the thing. I think sometimes we, like we're surrounded by all these people, and so sometimes we undersell ourselves. But I mean, here you are, like, oh yeah, I was a journeyman, kind of did my thing, and I got into this, doing other stuff. I just happened to jump around a couple of badmintons and burleys. That's pretty great, man.
Well, I have to correct you a little bit. One badminton I didn't get all the way around. I fell off twice, and I remember coming down. I'd fallen off in the pond at badminton. It was a wet year, and little horse had come across, never seen wet in his life, and first wet year we went to badminton. Anyway, I fell off in the Colt pond and got absolutely drenched. Got back on and got to the second last fence, and David O'Connor was hot on my heels, and I got jumped off. So David still reminds me of that.
So in all those years, what was the name of the horse that you had there?
A little horse called Plantagenet.
Okay, and is that's your all-time favorite horse?
Yeah, I mean, he was the horse that took me there. I then stayed in Europe and rode and had a lot of good horses, but we sold them all and some went on. So yeah, that was sort of the start of it, and then we stayed and tried to make a go of it living in England again.
Right. And does your wife ride?
She did. Yep. She rode as well.
And she evented?
Yep. She rode. We took a couple of horses back to England. She rode Blenheim and various places, and then she ended up. We started a family, and she sort of did a little bit less, but yeah, she still rides now.
That's pretty cool. And so, how many kids you guys got?
3 kids. 3 kids all grown up. One lives here in Australia, so we come out here for a couple of months every year. And then I got 2 based in the UK. One works for us, helps us run the event business. And another one lives down in London.
And any of them ride?
Oh, they all ride as kids, but they all sort of gone on, done different things now. So not a high priority for them anymore. Well, I think they'd like so many things, unless you end up in the right spot, it's difficult to keep doing.
Yeah, for sure. I just find it always interesting, like how we all are so into this. My son doesn't ride at all. He loves the horses. He loves being on the farm, but no interest in riding.
My middle daughter was really keen, but she was never going to be a top. She was a little bit too cautious, a bit too timid. So we encouraged her to go out and get another profession. But she's come back and runs the company with us. So she's still involved in the sport, but not actively riding.
Right. Rick, if you're trying to say something, you're muted. You're still muted. There you go.
I'm muted. It's probably better. You just don't get to hear me. No, I was saying I'm 50-50. Elisa rides, Braden kind of hangs out, and he boxed. But, it's funny what the kids do. They don't always follow in your footsteps. So,
right.
But hey, Stuart, tell us about your event. I heard John was telling me was all frangible pins cross country. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, sort of. We run an event company in the UK. We run 8 or 10 events across the UK.
That's big.
And Thorsby, which is the yeah, yeah. Um, Thorsby is our first. Is a big pre-badminton event, first international in the UK. And last year, beginning of last year, we were playing around with ideas and portable fences, frangible fences, and I'm a great believer that I love stuff to be a bit more traditional. So we built a load of stuff, pushed the boundaries a little bit, and ended up actually not by design but by default, really ending up with a course that every fence bar one on 3 tracks was either frangible or had brush in it. So 25% of the course was brush, and every other fence bar one was a frangible fence. So yeah, as I say, we ended up by default, not by, we didn't set out to do that, but that's where we ended up.
I mean, and that actually is the coolest thing, is that it wasn't actually even the plan, and you end up there because those are the options that kind of made sense to you guys, right?
Yeah, we were building fences, and I'd say, look, we want to do this, and I've got 2 really great guys that work for me who've done a lot of work on this, and they said, well, we can make that frangible, we can build that, but we can make that frangible. So they were probably the real drive for me, because they took the bit between the teeth and said, we could do this. And I had a lot of conversations with Mats from Sweden, who invented the MIM. And he and I were kept on saying, well, one of us will be the first person to do 100% frangible. And so they got the bit between the teeth and pushed us to us. So, yeah, so that was quite an achievement. And actually, I thought, oh, is this going to be accepted and things? So it was quite out there. But certainly, a lot of riders, a lot of people came up and really supportive of where we're going and how we're doing it.
And is that so do you, I know you run 8 events. Do you design cross country on all those events? 10, sorry.
Most of them I get guys to come in and help as well. But yeah, I do most of it myself, but yeah, I do get help in it as well.
So is that idea of all those frangibles something that you're going to keep doing at Thorsby? And if so, then will you try to transfer that through to some of the other competitions you run as well?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we run another international at the back end of the year at Osberton, and there were a lot of frangible fences there. But I think my philosophy now is, we can make 90% of stuff frangible. So if we're building new stuff now, we basically build everything with a frangible device into it. So any new fences are getting built that way, because why wouldn't you?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Stuart, on that side, when you were saying you weren't sure how it was going to be received, the activation of those pins, do you feel, was there a lot of those activations at that first event, or was there minimal, or did you really see that it did do something for safety, which I believe it would if anything happened at a frangible?
Yeah, look, it's an interesting one. I mean, I was nervous because what I didn't want to do is have loads of activations, right, and people then condemn it. So I probably spent more time dressing, making sure horses really understood a little bit more. But interestingly, the year before, we probably had 60% frangible. And then last year we had less compromised clips and less broken fences than we did when we only had half the course frangible. So, look, it's a one-off, so you can't take anything out of that. But I think people probably respected it a little bit more, and if that's going to happen, then that's probably a good thing.
Agreed totally. I mean, John, we were congratulating John on his big push for frangible pin fundraising here in the United States. What did you hit, John?
Yeah, so we got another $500,000 to go towards the frangible fund, which I would think will last us here in the U.S. I would hope 3 years, maybe 2, depending on how many people want them. But yeah, I think it's certainly the wave of the future, isn't it?
Well, I think more and more people, and actually what's really exciting, I've just run a Frangible build course out here in Australia for the Australians, New Zealanders, and that was really well received. And they did a lot of PR and they did a lot of social media around it. And the amount of interest and calls that I've had globally from people saying, "Can we do the same? Can we do this? You know, how do we move this forward?" Is really encouraging. And I've been involved in. I was designing in New Zealand this year, and been involved there in a big push to create some fully frangible courses out there. So, look, it is the way of the future. If we're going to protect our sport, we've got to go down this route. You know, I was probably nervous about it. I wasn't a convert straight away, but certainly the more I see and the more I do, I am convinced this is the future of the sport.
Well, and to your point you made a little bit ago with it riding pretty well and riders seem to respect it. That's the thing I will say of myself as a rider, and what I've noticed with the riders is we almost respect the frangibles more than the non-frangible fences, which in some ways makes sense because you're going to get a penalty for it. In other ways is completely ridiculous because we should be respecting the fences that don't fall down at least as much. But there is something about that penalty weighing over your head that makes you ride a little bit better, because I think the reality is, and you guys maybe will disagree with this, I don't think you would, but I think the reality is when you're out there with your competitor hat on, you're not thinking about making some mistake that's going to, you know, cause you to fall off. You're worried about competing and winning and trying to get the best score that you can. So when you know a fence could fall and give you 11 penalties, that actually, in that moment of competition, when your adrenaline is up, that actually makes you pay more attention than thinking about if that big upright vertical didn't come down.
Yeah, I think John.
Look, John, it's interesting. And go on, Rick.
No, go, Stuart.
I mean, it's an interesting one because I think if we can make riders respect and think again, because I think what's tended to happen, you see, because over the years, you know, we've built profile, we've improved profiles, we've improved color, we've done ground lines, we've done shapes, we've done all these things to avoid horses falling, that actually riders tend to have lost respect. And I was in a meeting the other day with one of the top gold medal jockeys from Australia, and Stuart's, you know, done a lot around the world, Stuart Bunting, and he was saying, you know, I'd love to build dead upright fences again, and fences so that people respect them and horses jump them.
Yep.
But because we went the other way, I think riders have lost respect for what's there. And somehow we've got to get that respect back so riders actually learn to think, to take a pull and actually understand, A, how the horse is going to jump it, and B, what are the consequences if I get it slightly wrong.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And that's the nice thing about the frangibles is you can build a vertical upright gate now, or you can build, you know, a fence that is still in the spirit of something you would build if you couldn't build frangible, which I think is important. We're not trying to trick or trap the horses, but you can build a little bit more upright, like you said, a vertical gate, things like that. And that's not the only thing you can build with frangibles, but I do think you're right. And then we get back to sort of the airy oxers and the rails that you can see through into the coffins and things like that we did, you're right, kind of get away from. We made everything, to your point, sort of almost slippery. Like the corners, the profiles were so round, you could get there, and if you got it wrong, your horse was going to slip and slide over the top of it. And now you don't have to do that necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got to be careful because as designers, you design a fence, and the most important thing is you design the correct fence in the correct position, and thereafter it goes. But with today's society and the fact that, you know, A, we've got the risk factor that we've got to try and reduce, and B, you know, we've got to look after horses. It is no longer acceptable. I was sat the other day watching some old footage with my wife, and we were watching the Grand National when Red Rum won it for the third time. And after the first lap of Aintree, I said, it is totally unacceptable what we did, or today it is totally unacceptable to do what we did 20 and 30 years ago. Horses falling left, right, and centre is just not an acceptable picture anymore. So, we've really got to work if we want to save our sport. Not only do we've got to reduce the risk from riders, but we actually have to start looking at how do we make sure that horses aren't falling, because the wider public aren't going to accept that.
You're right. And then the trick becomes then how do you do that and still make it an exciting sport? And I actually think we're real close to that with all these frangibles, because it is still exciting. And it's not to say you're not going to have a horse tip up here or there, which we don't want to happen, but it is part of horse sport, and you're still going to have riders pop off. But, when you're going out on cross country, going fast and pressing on and trying to win that competition, and then a frangible gets activated and you lose the competition, that's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the USP in our sport is cross country, and we've actually got to really make sure that cross country comes back to the focus of it. And if we've got to look at how we design the rules around cross country, we may have to do it. I mean, I was interested watching Formula One. They had their first testing yesterday or the day before, and that's all behind closed doors because they've completely redesigned the whole car. Now, Formula One are having to change themselves and redesign and everything to stay relevant and stay current. We as a sport, I think we've got to take a long hard look. We can't be traditionalists. It was lovely. When I rode around badminton in the end of the 80s, 90s, there were great big hoary old gappy fences, and, we fell off and we got back on again. And all that stuff was great back in the 80s, 90s, but it is not what we do today. And if we want our sport to be relevant in 28, in 30 and 36 and 40, we've got to change it.
Yeah.
As much as we don't want to, we do have to accept we've got to change.
Yeah, got to stay current. Well, speaking of staying current, Rick, let's take a break. Thank you to Equibrew. It is an awesome live probiotic. I feed it to all of my horses. It really is great for the gut health. And if you guys want to check it out, you go to brickfieldnutrition.com. And you can order it there. It's on Shopify. I know that as well. And you guys should go check it out. So let's do that. And we're going to take a break. And Stuart, we're going to keep you for 20 more minutes or so, and then you can go back to the beach. All right. Hang tight.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
One of my favorite things to do is explore the stores at World Equestrian Center here in Ocala, Florida. When I do, I always make sure to stop in at I Love My Horse Equestrian Boutique. I Love My Horse is a one-stop shop for the latest trends in equine gear, protective equipment, show attire, and casual apparel. They're located in Arena 3 at the World Equestrian Center, right beside the Grand Arena. They've got all kinds of great products in the store. The horse shows are underway at WEC and HITS, and the eventing season is going full throttle. So if you forgot something, or if you just want to pick up something you need to start the season, I Love My Horse is the place to go. Already at the events at Majestic Oaks, Rocking Horse, or Ocala? No problem. I Love My Horse has an awesome mobile tack store just for you eventers. Penny and Terry and their team will take care of all of your equine tack and apparel needs.
Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. Big thanks to Matt and his team over there. If you guys need anything done with your horse trailers, Horse Trailer Pros is the place to go. They are awesome. They just got done checking out Rick's truck and trailer, and I know they're about to do mine as well. So thanks to them. And Stuart, thank you to you. I know we're taken away from your relaxing family time here. We really appreciate your time.
Pleasure. Great to be here.
Okay, so one of the things I wanted to ask about, which I think you'd have some insight on, and hopefully you won't mind because we're dealing with it, I think worldwide, but definitely here in North America, and I know in the UK it's an issue, which is the eventing calendar and how we balance that out with the recognized competitions versus the unrecognized competitions. And you having an event organizing business, that's got to be a challenge for you. So what's it like over there? I've only heard bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, look, I mean, Britain's going through a tough time. For years, Britain was the mecca of the sport, and we had an amazing industry. And I think really interesting, you've got to make sure that what you do stays relevant all the time. And I think, over the last 10 or 15 years, we probably took the eye off the ball a little bit. The sport got into a bit of financial difficulty. They spent too much money on an IT project, and the grassroots, what we call the grassroots, the fun end of the sport, fell out of love a little bit with the fully regulated format of the sport. And 80% of the world want to compete, and we need to make sure we give them a safe, good environment to compete over good courses. And in Britain, traditionally, we've always had, when I started in Britain, we used to have hunter trials, and we used to have all sorts of little competitions like that, which sort of disappeared as the regular format of eventing took over. But that had a resurgence pre-COVID, during COVID. And for a lot of us, we used to run regulated events, and then we would have some unregulated days for people that weren't wanting to join the federation. So, yeah, things got tough. I mean, the amount of events in Britain has reduced dramatically. The membership has reduced dramatically. But I think it's turning around. And one of the things that, I have to try and look at is I look at any business and say, how do you stay relevant? How do you make sure that what you're doing has a future? And I think we are a traditionalist. The sport is very traditional, and I think we probably buried our heads a little bit in the sand and said it's always going to be like this in Britain, and it isn't. So yeah, things are changing, but it's been tough for the last couple of years. It'll be tough for a year or two, but I think we've got to make sure that the sport survives and people stay in love with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that we've noticed here is there's still as many people participating in eventing competitions. We just have a lot of unrecognized eventing competitions here anyway that they go to for the lower level stuff, which typically are a little more affordable. And if you make a mistake, you're allowed to finish the competition. And I think as we talk about a lot of the stuff we talked about in the first segment with all the safety and all of that, the one thing that comes with that as well is a lot of money. And for these lower levels, I think they want the safety, but it does have to be affordable, and not just for the adult amateurs here anyway. And I'm curious if it's that way over in the UK. I need it to be affordable for my young horses too, because a lot of those I own myself, and I can't go and spend $1,000 on an entry fee to run a training level horse around at even the most beautiful venue. Maybe it's not 1,000, but you get my point. Like $500-600 for a weekend for that, it gets expensive fast. If I can go to here, very often I can go to a venue that the weekend before ran a recognized horse show for half the price, unrecognized. So why wouldn't I?
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what happened in the UK. And we ran some unregulated events. If you cut me in half, I will still bleed British eventing blood because that's the sport I love, and that's the sport I want to support. But we have to be realistic, and we have to be able to run businesses. So we all started looking at different ways and widening the market opportunities, providing good sport for all levels. I'm hoping I've been involved in some work with British eventing over the winter, and I'm hoping that they're coming to terms with that and they will embrace that. And as a sport, we can sort of come together because, we're a tiny sport. We can't afford to be fragmented. We can't afford to have fractions of people doing this and somebody else doing that. We've got to come together in a time when the sport is increasingly under pressure to get together and make it happen for everybody. But the bottom end has got to be safe. It's got to be fun. These guys want to come out. They want to have a good weekend, enjoy it, jump some good fences, get a rush of adrenaline, and then go home and do other things with the family on another day. So we're in changing times, which we've got to accommodate.
Yeah, and Rick, I think you would probably agree with the sentiment that I think over here in the States anyway, they need to probably look at those lower level competitions and sort of say, all right, what encourages people to go to the schooling events and how can we make our recognized events a little less maybe stringent on how you can finish the competition and maybe a little more affordable.
Yeah, that's been the age-old story. We've been talking about that in the U.S. for 10 years. We were on the board together for the USEA trying to figure that out. And at this point, I know, Stuart, in England the weather didn't help y'all over the last 3 years for anything either. We fortunately, I kind of understand where you're coming from, John, for us, but I think we've kind of gotten there. We have starter, we have beginner novice, we have novice. We're in a place where you can go to a recognized show one week and go to an unrecognized show. I think we are all coexisting together pretty well. I think England is the UK is in a different position. I think they are where we were 10 years ago. So I think we have gone up. I don't think we dummy down our recognized events by saying you can go on, because that's really hard to manage, right? It's just my opinion. Sorry, I didn't agree with you.
No, he's fine. I think that's fine. Go ahead, Stuart.
I picked up the rule book the other day and I opened the rule book onto cross-country rules. And I think there's only 2 things you can do cross-country that don't eliminate you. And there are 20 things you do that eliminate you and 2 things you do that don't eliminate you. And I think, hang on a minute, this isn't why we get into the sport. And actually, New Zealand have a great concept whereby at the bottom levels, if you don't want to jump a fence, you can go past it.
Yep.
And you might get 50 penalties or 100 penalties, but you can go past it. And I think at that bottom end of the sport, the top end of the sport is different. We've got very much two levels of sport now. We've got the, dare I call them elite, but the guys that want to go on and produce horses and ride at top level. And we've got the market that really actually wants that really fun day out. And let's face it, it's an amazing sport because we get to compete with horses and ride animals, and we have an amazing adrenaline rush, and we do all sorts of crazy things. But they've got to be able to go out there and actually not get to the third fence. Horse doesn't like the bale of hay that's sitting beside it, and it stops and they walk home. We've got to move on from that and say, okay, how can we keep it safe, but make sure people get round and have a good day? And there's a balance in there, I know, but I keep looking at that rule book thing. We've got to revisit that.
So, I hear you, Stuart, and I hear you, John. So, John, if you were looking at an event, Stuart say, you can go around that fence or you have problems at that fence. I get all that. What would be the 2 things that you would change? What would it be that you would change, John, that would make it where you felt, he said you can go around and jump, you get 50 penalties. What would you do?
I would say certainly probably training level and below. I would implement that rule immediately and say that you could bypass a jump on cross country. You might limit it to a certain number of jumps on cross country. Maybe you get to bypass 1 or 2 and you get a big penalty. You're out of the competition, but you get to finish.
I got a question real quick on that.
Yep.
That one. So, okay. Are you allowed to bypass it and not attempt it, or do you attempt it, have a stop and bypass it? Because I think you either bypass it or you attempt it. Because if you attempt it, have a stop, and then you bypass it and go on and have a problem.
Well, I don't know how it works in New Zealand. My understanding is either one of those is allowed. Is that right, Stuart?
I think so. I think they're allowed a maximum of 3 bypasses. So, and I think they get 100 penalties. But to me,
Right.
if you come up and you have a stop, 20 penalties, and you should then be allowed to say, "Oh, hang it," because one of the big things is we shouldn't be schooling in public. I've always been taught you never school your horse in public.
Correct.
So if I get to a fence and my horse doesn't want to jump a ditch, rather than keep going, have a stop, pick up the 20, go round it, and then hopefully go on and school over that concept in a schooling environment when you've got somebody to help you.
Yeah, and again, I think we're
that's
talking
the
about the
case.
lower
I
level
think
stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and the big thing that's happened.
Definitely for you, it's great.
I think the big thing that's happened to us in the United States, though, is now we have what's called a compulsory retirement show jump with 5 rails. That's stopping a lot of people from going cross country. If anything,
I would get rid of that immediately as well. I actually don't believe it works. And I know Stuart is the chairman of the risk management group, so he probably has an opinion about this as well.
Let's talk about that.
I'm not convinced.
It takes a lot of people out of it.
Yeah, it's interesting because a couple of years ago, we were running an unregulated event, and a girl went in and she had 30 penalties or something, and the judge said, "You can't go cross country." So she came and saw me as the organizer, and I said, "Look, I'll do you a deal. Go back out, practice, go back in, and if you go round the next time with less than your 24 penalties, you can go cross country." And I had 2 or 3 people ask me the same thing. So I said exactly the same thing. Go back, try it. 2 of them went back in and got less than 24 penalties, went cross country, and were so excited because they were able to do it. The third one went in and didn't get round, but she was equally pleased because she'd been given the option to try again. And I think somewhere in there, I'm going to be really careful. I'm not going to put my head completely on the line. We've got to be careful of this, the balance between safety and not safety. And if somebody can't get around the show jumping, perhaps should they go cross country? But that's another story. But I think they should be given the option. They should be given the chance to try again and do it and be accommodating and say, yes, we can. That's sort of my philosophy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is not a bad way to look at it. I just personally, I know it's kind of the way the FEI and the US for sure have gone with the compulsory retirements. And I think it's possible we don't have a way, like we just are not going to stomach coming back from it. In all my years being involved in safety, which has been quite a long time, I actually have yet to see any evidence that completely convinces me that there's any correlation between knocking down show jump poles and going safe on cross country. Initially, I went along with it because I was compelled that there probably was. And I thought, well, let's do it. We're trying to make things safer. And I regret supporting it then. I will put my name on the line on that. And I don't think there's a correlation. And I think it does make people not want to participate in recognized competitions because of it that have tough show jumpers. And I think it discourages people. And I think it's, to me, if you show me evidence, I could be convinced again, but I haven't seen it. And I've asked for it from various people and have yet to see it.
I can tell you some of our best cross country horses cannot show jump.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, thoroughbred, just the way it is. They'll go march around badminton Burley, but they might have 4 or 5 rails in the show jump. I mean, you can't gauge it from that. I don't think.
So, Stuart,
John, I think
go ahead.
I think you touched on a really good thing there. I think as a sport, we implement rules too quickly. We don't do enough digging down into why are we changing the rules and what are the unintended consequences. And I think this is certainly one. And there are 3 or 4 others that I can think of now thinking, if we're just taking 12 months to do proper research, we could come up with proper figures. And I think that's probably a lesson that we should be learning.
Yeah, I agree.
Stuart, I agree with you. The other thing is Briggs watches a lot of steeplechase over in England and the UK. And he brought it to my attention that they wanted to go on the safety route. So they took the orange off and made it white. and then the brush a different shape. And the best steeplechase horse that won 10 in a row started falling everywhere. So I think it's kind of a point of what we think might be a good change is actually an awful change. So we got to be careful to your point.
So
You
Stuart,
didn't know any of that, did you, John?
I didn't, but now I do, so I appreciate it. So speaking of safety in the sport, that's obviously been the reason we had you on here, is because you are the chairman of the Risk Management Steering Group. I know you really well from that now, and I feel like we're good pals. But why don't you tell everybody a little bit about that job, what that group does, and sort of basically what that group does and what your job is on it.
Yeah, I mean, what do we do? I mean, basically, our remit is to manage risk and challenges within the sport, and it's really wide ranging. I mean, recently our focus is very much. I mean, I was invited on as a course designer representative and got very involved in the whole Frangible discussion. And the last 12, 18 months, I suppose my time has been taking up really developing that. But I think one of the things that we've got to look at is what are the risks and how do we manage them going forward? And it's very wide ranging. There's a lot of stuff that we could be looking at. And our job is to assess it, discuss it, make recommendations to the eventing committee that they can take forward to the board if they agree. If we make recommendations that they don't agree with, it's our duty to come back and reassess and make sure that we are managing risk within the sport. I think there are a lot of areas, and I encourage to look at. One of the big things, has been the rotational falls and the reduction of rotational falls. And we've got an eventing seminar this weekend, as you know. And actually, I've seen the latest figures, and again, we've got a downward trend, and we're continuing that downward trend, which is great. One of the things I want to really focus on going forward is reduction of horse falls. And we're always going to have horse falls, but we've got to make sure that we're leading the narrative in protecting horse welfare, because right. I think the biggest threat to our sport going forward is horse welfare. And we've seen it across the world that, using animals for sport and pleasure is getting increasingly hard to justify. So we as a sport, we've got to be ahead of that narrative and make sure we put in place some really strong risk mitigation things to ensure that, when that argument comes towards us, we can defend what we do. As a discipline, I think eventing are really, really good on horse welfare. But I think we can't rest on our laurels. We've got to really make sure that is something that we focus on. So that I think is going to be a focus of ours going forward. I'm at the moment writing a paper to circulate to all you guys to come back with thoughts on it. But that's where my thought process is at the moment.
Well, and don't you think a part of that as well, and I don't know if this falls under the risk management purview, but I think not only do we need to make sure that we're looking at horse welfare in competition and in training, but also we need to show the life that these horses have because of the sport that they do, and how much we love and respect those animals. And the simple fact is, if these horses didn't have a sport in very short order, then we wouldn't have horses, because they aren't around to plow fields and be our transportation, right? They're here for sport. That's why they exist now, whether we like it or not. There aren't that many wild horses in the world anymore.
Look, John, I think you're spot on. And one of the discussions I've got going on at the moment with a couple of potential people is to fund a whole host of behind the scenes stories about how horses are looked after. What do they go through at the end of cross country? How do we look after them? But also, what do they do post retirement, and how they looked after? So again, we've got these stories that we can put out there and we can use to say to the world that actually, we love our horses, and the horses love doing what they do. For years we had a little horse that my wife rode, And when he retired from the eventing, he was a hunter, and through the summer, he was on the riverside. And whenever the lorry came in or out, the head went up, the ears went forward, and he watched that lorry go backwards and forwards because he knew that's what he loved doing. And they're the stories we've got to get out there.
Yeah. And, I know Rick is the same boat as I am. He's got his former advanced horse living on his farm. I've got a couple of mine living on my farm. My wife rides one now, and the other one lives in the penthouse corner stall, greeting everybody as they come in and out. And
Yeah.
all of my upper level horses have retired here and have lived out their days until their days are done, and they get treated like kings the whole way. And I think that is the stuff that we don't tell enough about.
Yeah. And those stories are important. I mean, the one that John's talking about that I have, I bought as a 3-year-old. I sold as a 5-year-old. I got back as a 7-year-old. I took to the 4-star. I sold it to a Canadian. It came back. It kept on coming back to me. And I have them 24 years old and in the pasture. John rode them, I think, at the AECs one year for me. But we love our horses. I mean, I would do anything for that horse. He did great by me, and he came and went, and now he's out with the foals. We got to get the stories out.
Absolutely. And I think, part of our mission from everybody involved in the sport is to lead the narrative on why we do it, why it's so good, why it is good for kids to do it. One of the great things, and there was a wonderful comment that came up on Facebook the other day of a kid trudging through the snow with buckets of food in the mud. And the comment was, we're teaching our children that looking after people is more important than putting yourself first, or something like that. And they're the stories we've got to get out as to why we've got this great sport.
Yeah, well said.
That's how we grew up, right? We got to give it back and say, we don't just sit in the house and not do anything.
Yeah.
Well said.
Well, Stuart, thank you for taking the time. I know you need to give us a little pan. Are you like literally on the beach? Can we see the ocean? Let's check this out. Look at that.
Look at that.
That's pretty beautiful. All right. I feel badly that we've stolen so much of this day from you. So go back and enjoy it. Enjoy your family. I will see you on Saturday for the seminar, the meetings. And Saturday and Sunday. I'm looking forward to that. And so thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you to Horse Trailer Pros. Thank you to everybody for watching the show. We really appreciate it. Again, yes, Rick?
What do they got to do to win that gift certificate?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. Let's do this.
Go ahead.
You got an idea?
No, I want Stuart to come up with the idea.
All right. So Stuart, here's the deal. We have a $25 gift certificate to give away to one of our viewers or listeners. They have to answer a question.
What was his horse's name that he rode around at Badminton and fell off at Burley on?
Okay. So what was Stuart's top horse's name? And we can give it away right now because you can tell the name again because we're at the end of the show. So let's just remind everybody the name of that top horse of yours.
Plantagenet.
Plantagenet. Okay. So you got to comment on YouTube in the comments there, the name of Stuart's horse. And then we will, out of those correct guesses, we will randomly select the winner. All right.
Good job.
Work, Rick. Okay. Good job remembering that, man. Well done. So we'll finish it up with this. Please make sure you guys check us out on all the podcast players. Give us a 5-star review. Go onto YouTube, comment on there. Stuart, make sure you subscribe to us, please. I'm sure you're just an avid follower of the John and Rick Show, obviously. But if you
now,
give us all the likes. We really appreciate your time. Thanks so much. And we will catch you guys in 2 weeks' time.
Thanks, everybody. Have fun at the seminar.
get out.
We have an awesome show for you guys today.
The greatest eventer of all time.
Good news for the sport.